In this good kalpa, at the present time, when the span of the human life is 100 years, and of course, our limited our life, it is the maximum is the 100 years. Of course, sometimes we are luckily, maybe we stay more than 100, but after the 100 years, it's unpleasant, because according to our body speech, that is like a kind of limit. It's after our body speech, strength is exhausted. But some, of course, you can say is in this world, and someone's stay alive 120, 30. I think is the most one is a person is the 200 years old. But is this 200 years a person is a guy is after the 200 years, and maybe it is sometimes we call the Shantarakshta, Nangajunas. This is the power of the realizations, and through the good path of the four Vijdaras, and kind of they are realized, or the path of the maturation Vijdaras, and the body verb is matured, and after the path of the long life Vijdara path, that moment, then they are body, speech, mind is completely like a same. It's the true nature, the Buddha natures, and then it's become almost deathless, and there's kind of go beyond the old age. Then maybe you can to stay fresh, young. Then otherwise it's to over the 100 years, it's not comfortable. But this is our kind of our limited years. And before we talk about some in the past good eons, they are kind of 8,000, 8 millions. Says there's 100,000 the life spent is years, but then it's coming down, 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 and then it's at the moment is the 100, then going to the 8, 70, 50, 20, 30, then enter God at the 10 years old. And one is shorter and shorter. One day is our babies. I'm not sure this has happened. I'm imagine maybe one day, one a girl or boy born right now, immediately to get up to say, I want to marry it. Immediately create the children, have these families. Their life is kind of the 10 years old. And then they go into, this is the life spent, and the life is we call the maximum is 10 years. It is, maybe we can say, this is impossible. It's possible. Most animal is we can to look, someone's 10 years old, already they are old. Dog, cat, and other animals. Most they become the 20 years, they are really exhausted. And also it's some insect, this morning born, afternoon they die. Some insect in the beginning of in the spring born, and before enter into the winter they die. Life is very much depends the environmental, and it's kind of element. Element has good, there is something. Element is more contaminated, more and more. This is we cannot to shock, we cannot to say it. This is going to. And then it's that moment when our life is become the maximum is 10 years old, and then there is such and such conflicting and words, chemicals, and our kind of the word is become the kind of the garbage pipes, or the kind of just contaminated, full of the chemical things, difficult to survive. And maybe it's using different bad things, then most people die by the hunger, by the sickness, by the wars. And then certainly they say it is like Buddha Muchayana came, and then everybody try to taking care, environment, people, more follow the positive things. And then some left human beings doing good. Then slowly kind of the element is to get more strength, elements get more strength, minerals, natural things. Then we can to going up and up until the maybe Sama says 8 million or 1,000 and like this. And then afterwards going down and then until like the end, then this is the universe finished. Like this we call the up, down, between, there is like this is like kind of the situation of our universal. It's a kind of very amazing. If we kind of to sit at home, don't study nothing open our mind, just to keep it narrow, and drink coffee, tea, go to the holiday, and life is like this, and just a distracted mind carrying all the times, and we don't understand these things, okay? But certainly we understand how it is the universal is running. And then, wow. And someone's reading the history of the past many years, 40 million years after coming like this, after coming kings. Sometimes in the teachers to telling to the students, please to read history of the king, history of your families, history of some great person, history of some bad persons. You should to read them. Then certainly you understand your something situations. And sometimes when you read the kings in Tibet, sometimes we read first king, second king, third king, fourth king, blah, 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 blah. Oh, now, when like this, then this one is a human's life is almost very bizarre. And it's like a kind of shock. For example, myself is in my life, how many times received teaching of the impermanent and wonderful things. Still there is, I'm permanent. I'm like kind of never hurry up doing the Dharma. All the time is carrying distracted mind. Once I was very much shocked. That is my experience. You know, a few years ago, and holiness, to talk about the true reincarnation, the karma reincarnation, and his own teacher, Rinpoche's reincarnation. He talked to privately, and he says like, now I put hope to you. I'm old. I'm going to die. After I'm died, please to help to the sentient being, particularly for the Tibetans. And holiness to saying that, oh sure, I'm going to die. Said something, wow, what is me, myself? And then there is, wow, I need to do something. And then it is very good. This experience, this shock is coming to me. It's wonderful. Then it's like a little bit to hurry up. Whatever you do, hey, taking care. It's your impermanent, and the uncertainty of the impermanent near there. You calculated right now. I'm myself. Okay, I'm telling to you. 55 years old. I don't know how long I will stay. Even I'm says like the 60 years is just a few years, 4 years, 5 years. It's nothing almost at 1 second. To be the 60 years in our Europeans, for maybe it's no problem. You are still looks like young. But surely when I become the 60 years, I go, all the test is gone to looking for the like kind of a little bit to hurry up need to do to get the strength. Is right now, if I'm saying it's like, okay, you have cancer, you have something. Sorry, doctors cannot help. You are going to die. Then it's running, hurry, nervous, depressed. Then start very fast, but it doesn't work, you know. I'm sick now, maybe I'm going to die, maybe this month, next month. Then it's also pity instruction, but to meditate pity instruction, it's take. Then it's running to preparations, it's a little bit too late. If you early to a little preparated, very much, and something is to come, no problem. You give me information or not give me information. I give myself already give information. Every day I'm giving information. Now you give more information. I don't care. Okay, yeah, no problems. Then it's sometimes even the sick persons is disappeared. It's like kind of no shock. And the sick is, maybe you have sickness going down. Okay, I'm happy. I take to bring it into the path. And it's nothing damage to the mind. And sometimes sickness is disappeared. If you have a little bit sick, very much scared, very much nervous, maybe I'm going to die, then sickness is also become worse. In my area, there's a very now famous idioms. Some people say it's really mind, everything depends mind. There was one guy, he was sick. And then, of course, he's sick, he can't eat food. And then the doctor said, oh, very sorry, maybe you have something very bad sickness, maybe you're going to die 1 month, 2 months. And then and the wife and children, they give please, and no, I can't eat it. Then maybe we can to bring into the Chengdu, probably China's, maybe we can to check more to do something. And then they brought in China, and then they put in the big hospitals. And then the big hospitals, they checked. I'm very sorry, but you hasn't got nothing sickness. It's something your health is. Really? Yes. And then he said, okay, let's go to the nice restaurant. Appetize, everything has come back. Afterwards, you don't need to say, please eat. He won't eat. He's like normal. He's running around. It's like a kind of completely depends the mind. It's like this. I'm saying it's like early to little bit like kind of this necessary to working. And our years like this, perfect Buddha Shakyamuni comes to word. It is the right kalpa, great opportunities. And also suppose that the Buddha and come, but was still in the meditation and had not yet taught the Dharma, and then it's like also not very much benefit. If sometimes we can to say enlightened, it's a completely different the conditions. It's enlightened also is like to have enlightened activities. It's absolutely the different the conditions here. For example, when we first time enter into the path, and the first path is called the path of the accumulation merits, accumulations. When we enter into the path, very important, we need to pray to say, may I want to become the benefit for the sentient beings. May I come to help to the sentient beings. This kind of prayer is very important. This praise to connect to the many sentient beings here. If we haven't got any connection to the sentient beings, even if we become the enlightenment, there's no activities. Like someone's, maybe it's Buddha said, appeared. Maybe it's like right now, someone's Buddha's appear in our front of our eyes, front of the physicality, but we can't recognize, and the Buddha hasn't got chance to teach to us. Like this, sometimes different conditions, even the Buddha appear in this world, some conditions, they don't talk Dharma, then they passed away. If this situation, then Buddha came into this world, which kind of benefit? But our Buddha Shakyamuni came, he taught the teachings. As long as the light of his Dharma had not appeared, and also sometimes we yesterday talking about, even it's like a Buddha's teaching, but after the 5,000, and this teaching itself is disappeared. his having come would make no difference to us. And if these situations, maybe Buddha came, not teaching, maybe Buddha's taught, but teachings disappeared. And then it's for us, what is the difference to us? It would be just as if had never come at all. Then it's like kind of the same as the meaning of the not Buddha came. Like for our perspective, also it's like not hear the Buddha's teaching, and also it's like not met the Buddha, and we have like some different the life's styles preoccupied. Then it's like Buddha appear or not, and the teaching or not, it's like same for our individual perspective, very much dark eons like this. And also is the one attained the totally and perfect Buddhahood, and open the Vajja seat. Our teacher explained it. Means it's like once in our own Buddha, also it's like appear in this world, he be enlightenment in the Buddha Gaya, and then it's like he says, I have found a Dharma like Ambrosian, deep, peaceful, simple, uncompounded, radiant. If I explain it, no one will understand. So I shall stay here silent in the forest. And this is like kind of happened. And one is, of course, what he founded, Dharma like Nitya, and that is his mind. It is like the nectar of his Dharma is talking about our Buddha nature. Because the remedy of our sickness, disturbing emotions, it is the Ambrosian, like a kind of special liquid medicine, is the Buddha nature. And that is the overuse. And he found it, realized the Buddha nature. And also Buddha nature is like a deep and not easy to understand. What is the deep? There are many we can to say is that. And this is the deep of the universities. And deep, what is the deep? The deep, big ocean of the universes. All phenomena of the samsara, nirvanas, included inside us. Even the phenomena of the samsara, nirvana, whatever existence we can to put into in the nature of our minds, still there is space. Therefore, it is the very deep, profound, and deep, peaceful, wonderful. In the Buddha nature's perspective, there is nothing kind of the complications of the conceptual, dualistic distinctions or the exaggerations. And therefore, it is the peaceful. That the essence nature is there is, and never fixated, and everything is open, tolerant, penetrated. But in that perspective, there's uninterruption of the arising phenomena of the samsara, nirvana, everything is. There is like this for, but there's nothing contradicted. And therefore, it is the peaceful set. It is the simple set. And also is the simple. What is the simple? Because it is the very easy. If we understood that, you not need too many explanation. It is very simple into our minds, nothing else. And also it is like the uncompounded set. And simple means there's no elaborations. And Buddha nature is we don't need to say the positive, don't need to say the negative. Buddha nature, there's nothing kind of the exaggerations and go beyond any elaborations. Therefore, we call the simple set. And also uncompounded set. Of course, therefore, this Buddha nature's beyond the birth, old age, sickness, the death. Therefore, we call the uncompounded. And if it is compounded, of course, there's a birth, there's the death. but uncompounded. Which kind of uncompounded? And therefore go beyond any compound things. Radiant, the heart core, it is the essence, is the luminosities. As I said, it's from the essence of the Buddha natures. All the arise uninterruptedly in the samsara and the nirvanas. This one is profound, deep, peace, simple, uncompounded of the Buddha nature. I found it, Buddha, he said, if I'm explained to this one, but nobody do not understands it. Because everybody is looking out kind of externally. If you can find some liberator is into your mind, nobody cannot to accept it. Because it's like we believe externally, or maybe in the space, or maybe someone's both, and someone's to give to us kind of liberation, to happiness, and like this. Too much believe that, too much clinging, and then you can say you found that into your mind. You should to take care of your mind. Your mind is extraordinary, and someone says maybe, but my mind is extraordinary, but maybe give some in the Father or something in the space, and therefore it's like my mind is wonderful. Or someone says, my mind is awful, sadness, and like this. But because it's like there's a desperate, and why you say the mind is wonderful. Because my mind is not very good. I haven't got any confidence. I haven't got any kind of self-confidence. Why you say, this is kind of too much far. And then it's difficult to say your mind is important. Then it's therefore difficult to understand. And then he said, shall I stay in the silent in the forest? 7 weeks he stayed there without talking. But of course, this is maybe according to our karma, his mouth cannot become the silent. Also there was some great persons, and they came, says, accordingly, said, 7 weeks, he did not teach about the Dharma until the Brahma and the Indra begged him to turn the wheel of the Dharma, and in this Brahmas, and give some a wheel of the gold, and this Indras some to give the special conch. It is the symbolic of the Dharma, and they ask to saints, okay, you enlightened, but sentient beings not enlightenment. What you found it into your mind, please to teach, do not to stay in the silent in the forest. And they pushed, they and they supplicated to him very much. And then he went in the Varanas, and the first teachings like this. Then he told, maybe we can stop 5 minutes, why not?